Hey guys, so today we're going to finish up factoring and we're going to do something called factoring completely. So make sure you have the packets of notes out so we can get started. So today we're factoring completely, which means that we're going to factor as much as possible, which means there's going to be more than one step. After factoring an expression, one of the factors that we have is going to also be factorable again. So that's a really big deal in factoring. You have to look for that. So there are four different types of combinations. When you look and see that there's factoring by GCF, but then there might be dots after. So you have to know to factor out the GCF and then do difference of two perfect squares. Or you could factor out GCF and then see that there's a trinomial that's factorable after that. Or you can see that there's dots and then there's a difference of two squares again that could be factored. Lastly, this is the most complicated one, is a trinomial then dots. So those are the four types of combinations. Number four is probably the one that you're going to see mostly in Algebra 2, but the first three are going to be focused on here in Algebra 1. So what I want you guys to see here is, oops, I skipped a page. You're going to always look for that GCF first. That's your first step of factoring. And then if you see that there's a GCF, if it's not, then you're going to look for dots, or if you could factor the trinomial. And then once you've factored it, you're going to then look for the polynomial that can be factored again. And you're going to try to do that one more time. So I'm going to lead you through two, and then you're going to try two on your own. Okay? So right here it says factor the polynomial completely. So your first thing you're going to do is look for a GCF. Is there something in common between the first two terms? And your answer is yes, it's 4. So you're going to factor out a 4 from both of the terms. You're going to pull that out. And you're left with x squared minus 9. Now your next step is to say, okay, is there something left that's factorable? Now you're never going to look at that whole number. You're going to look at the polynomial that's left. Is it a trinomial or is it a difference of two perfect squares? So here it is definitely a difference of two perfect squares. So in order to factor a difference of two squares, you're going to double bubble. You're going to put your plus and minus there. And then you're going to square root your x, put that there. And then you square root your 9, put the 3 there. But do not forget to bring that 4 down. This 4 is extremely important. That is one of the 3 factors. Anytime you're factoring completely, you're going to have 3 or more factors. So make sure you get that down. Okay, pause the video and make sure you have this all down. Next, we're going to go to something like this. So this looks like a trinomial, but it's something that we've never seen before. So that's why you ask yourself, is there a greatest common factor? Is there something in common between 6x cubed, 4x squared, and 2x? And by now you guys are proficient at recognizing, yes, they all have a factor of 2 and they all have an x term. So our GCF is going to be 2x. So I'm going to divide 2x out of each of our terms. And then I'm going to take that outside in front. And then I'm going to write the polynomial that's left inside, which would be 3x squared plus 2x. And then 2x divided by 2x with the minus sign is 1. So now we're not going to factor our 2x. We're going to look at our trinomial and factor that. Now this is a trinomial with a leading coefficient, so this is going to be a little bit more challenging. So when we're factoring this trinomial, we're going to multiply the 3 times -1 and get -3. And we know our factors of -3 are -1, +3, or +1 and -3, which are going to give us a +2. And that would be -1 and +3. So right now I'm going to separate that 2x to -1x and +3x. I'm going to bring down my -1 like we did in the past. And that is a 3x. I'm sorry, it's illegible. And I'm going to bring down the 3x squared. So our goal is to factor what's inside here. And the 2x is just going to keep on coming down with us. So now we group it. We factor out our greatest common factor here, which is x. And in this one is positive 1. So we're going to have x times 3x minus 1, and then plus 1 times 3x minus 1. And don't forget about our 2x. So our final answer, because I don't have a lot of room here, I'm going to do it in red on the side, is going to be minus 1, which is here. And then our x plus 1 is going to come to the side of it. And then you cannot forget this factor of 2x, because you're always going to have 3 or more factors when factoring completely. So that is going to be what your lesson is today. You're taking on one extra step from factoring that we've learned before. So you're doing everything you've already learned. You're just going to take it one more step on. Okay? So pause the video and make sure you get this down. And let's look at the last thing. So now you're going to try the next 3 on your own. Check your answers with the answer key provided on the Google Classroom. If you got any wrong, watch the second video where I guide you through those 3. And then finally, you're going to complete the Google Form assignment that's attached to the Google Classroom. That will be your classwork assignment grade for the next 2 days, for today and tomorrow. The problems are the same as in the classwork examples from today's assignment, but they're in digital form. So I would suggest working them all out before you start typing them. Okay? Email me if you have any questions.